Somehow, a town that isn't anywhere near a tectonic plate, that has no fault lines, no fracking, no loud music even, is shaking on a daily basis.
Under the dining table now! Hey, remember that one summer we died under a table?
I found this in my living room.
Whoa, killer replica.
A replica of what?
A ghost trap? There hasn't been a ghost sighting in 30 years. New York in the 80s? It's like The Walking Dead. Your dad never mentioned this to you?
It's just my mom. My grandfather died. My mom says we're just here to pick through the rubble of his life.
Wait a minute. Who are you?
Hello and welcome to this What Do You Want to Watch Spoilercast for Jason Reitman's sequel to his father's hit films, Ghostbusters, Afterlife. I'm actually probably joining me today, Dylan Blight.
I thought this was the sequel to there's a movie started like the Bridesmaid Girls. No? Not related? No?
It is not ultimate enough to be.
Oh, okay.
Completely different.
Damn, that's why I didn't get a lot of it. I was like, who are these like other characters?
When is Leslie Jones going to show up?
Yeah, when's Leslie Jones going to show up? Yeah.
Alright, please be aware we'll be freely discussing anything and everything about the plot, themes, and ending of the movie, so if you haven't watched it, come back later. It's currently playing in all cinemas here in Australia, I assume. There's a good chance Spider-Man's playing everywhere instead, so it's who knows. So with that said, let's jump to our discussion of Ghostbusters Afterlife, directed by Jason Reitman, written by Kenan and Jason Reitman, based on Ghostbusters by Dan Aykroyd and Hal Ramis, starring Carrie, Coon, Finn Wolfhard, Mckenna Grace, Paul Rudd, Logan Kim, and Celeste O'Connor. When a single mother and her two children move to a new town, they soon discover they have a connection to the original Ghostbusters and the secret legacy their grandfather left behind. Dylan, so the movie's finally out. We've both been to advanced screenings before this. We've hinted at our thoughts on what do you want to watch, but yeah. Do you want to give us your full spoiler-filled thoughts on Ghostbusters Afterlife?
Ghostbusters. So the 3/4 of this movie is really good, and then the ending derails the entire movie. That is my one sentence review, I guess. But I really, really like Mckenna Grace, Phoebe. Phoebe. She's fantastic. She's like the star of this movie. She's a really great character. She both feels like... It's funny because she plays into exactly what they wanted out of this, where you can tell she's her grandfather's daughter, and she has that tendency down, and already that should be enough to sort of keep long-term fans, I guess, happy, because you're you can see her, you can see him and her, because it's there, the mannerisms and everything, but she also feels like her own character, it's just. It's a bit of both, which is cool. But she's definitely the star. I thought she's the standout. Paul Rudd is fantastic in this, but he's just being Paul Rudd. But he's still really, really good. And I enjoy his back and forth, especially with her, and then even with the mum, who I can't remember the actress's name.
Carrie Coon.
Oh, there you go. Finn Wolfhard's fine. It's not like I dislike him. I just think he's fine. It's just he's just being Finn Wolfhard, I guess. I don't know, it's fine.
Just everybody being everybody, apparently.
Yeah. Logan Kim's really good. Podcast, obviously, that's a ridiculous concept, but somehow this character works where... and I think I did point this out on What Do You Want to Watch, but the whole, when she says, I'll listen to your podcast, and the fact he pulls out a USB with episodes and then proceeds to say that it gets good at episode 187, that's a good joke. It's a good pun, and he later does it to Dan Aykroyd, which is where I'll say, in my short summary up here, the ending of this movie is bad. It is everything I don't like about these reboot / sequel things, legacy sequels, whatever we call them. It is just a bunch, it is nonsense. It takes away all agency from our characters who would spend the whole movie getting to know, and it takes away them solving their problems and the fighting off the ghosts and having their moment with just them, where they win, because that's what the original Ghostbusters did. they weren't on their own terms, and instead you have all these fucking old people show up who look like they're barely struggling to hold up the bloody gear,
Proton pack,
and they're proton pack. They all look like they're about to tumble over, especially Bill Murray, and they're all there, and they're like, "Oh, well, we got this." It's dumb. I hated it. I think I did groan like subconsciously. It's not what I want at all. I left the theater just thinking, "Wow!" Like, if I feel like that's the ultimate sort of like separation for what sort of people want out of movies, and I don't. Where if someone sits down and watches this and goes, "That's fucking awesome! This is what cinema is," I'm like, you and I probably are on completely different wavelengths at this point. Like, and then other like things like the fact that fucking Annie Potts shows up for 30 seconds or no, like 10 seconds at some point in this movie, and she's like, I was like his friend. Your being here makes no sense. Like, they were like, he's a recluse. He doesn't talk to anyone. You live nowhere near here. The only reason you're here is to have a quick cameo because that's the only spot they could force you in.
She was the one who was actually paying for the upkeep of like everything
from the side, apparently. Yeah. But I was just like, there's a lot of like really forced. The Sigourney Weaver scene, after credit scene, or whatever. That was
completely pointless.
Dumb. So, in summary, there's a really good movie here that I like to pretend is not associated to everything that comes in the last 15 minutes or whatever. However, the ending's trash.
I liked a greater percentage of the movie. Like you said, I think Mckenna Grace is brilliant. I mean, she's been showing up in like a bunch of different things, mostly playing younger versions of like other people. Like she played young Sabrina Spellman on that show, and then she played young Carol Danvers in Captain Marvel and that kind of stuff. But yeah, this is her breakout performance. The thing that I probably bet, like, for impact, I feel like it's almost going to be like Chloe Grace Moretz in Kick-Ass. Like, that sort of, like, moment, like, character, almost, for people who actually watch it. I feel like that will be the only thing. But she is fantastic in this film. Like, even though her jokes are really bad, they're hilarious, you know? Especially the one about what's the difference between a cigarette and a hamster. Does make a difference when you're smoking. Or something along those lines, yeah.
Yeah, it's
really dark. Yeah, all the cast's really good. Obviously, Paul Rudd, you know, he just oozes charisma. It's not much you can do. I think the only issue is, like, he kind of floats in and out of the movie. Where I think a lot of people would have preferred him to be, like, a mainstay of the movie. But that's fine. You just get your feel of Paul Rudd. They don't overdo it with you, Paul Rudd.
I almost feel like, fuck the romance, right? The romance is only there so they can lead to the Keymaster whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Fuck the romance. Like, just have Paul Rudd's character instead have more scenes where he's just, like, forming a bond with the kid. Because we only really get the main one, I guess, outside the classroom, which is when they blow open the box.
Well, that and like him explaining the actual seismic activity in the.
What does that mean? Outside the classroom?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Also, you know, shout outs to him. Like, obviously, he's a summer school teacher. He's got this class of kids who have to repeat or whatever, and he's just like, fuck it. Different movie every single day. It's like,
you know, there's a movie out there playing where a crazed dog's eating people's faces off, right?
Yeah, I'd be in the other room as well. For a different reason. Yeah, I think Finn Wolfhard is cool. His involvement makes the Stranger Things comparisons probably much easier. Because there's definitely like Stranger Things comparisons, because it's like a bunch of young kids like trying to solve some sort of mystery involving something supernatural, and that kind of thing. But yeah, I enjoyed most of the movie. I didn't mind that the original Ghostbusters showed up. I think that was given. There was no way they weren't going to show up, especially after 2016. But it definitely felt like the movie like completely shifted in tone, like just so they could get all their jokes and zingers in, where they're fighting the ghost. You know, like for a good 10 minutes, it was like a completely different movie. But yeah, I enjoyed it overall. I think, it's a very Jason Reitman film. Very different to the original Ghostbusters as well. Obviously, that being very much a very comedic film, like very adult comedic film, and this obviously being a slower, kid-focused character piece to a certain degree. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I really liked how they built up the Egon ghost thing all through the film. Like, just obviously, I think everybody would have clued in that he was a ghost pretty early on, but just like the hints and the build up of the chess pieces and like him showing her a secret base downstairs, and yeah, I really enjoyed all of that. I liked how they're in this small middle of nowhere town, so they could like tear it up. I think the scene where they're chasing down Muncher, the ghost, with the Ecto one, that's a lot of fun. Yeah, there's a lot of things to like.
You know what I dislike about that scene in retrospect, though?
What?
That it was so much fun that the ending of the movie is so bad.
Wow.
Imagine, why do we get like a really cool scene with those characters chasing them down in the Ecto one? Awesome. And then at the end, it's left to old men holding fucking guns. Like,
that's not. They were there too. They were just trying to, fulfill Egon's original plan. I think you also had an issue with, Gozer being the one that comes back.
Yeah, again, dumb. Like, it's just.
I mean, if you're gonna harken back to the original, you might as well just bring back the original villain.
But I just feel like it's just at some stage it all toppled over, doesn't it? Like they start with what I feel is perfectly fine, like legacy sequel material by making it the granddaughter, and she has a lot of the same similarities to the grandfather, and the kids discover what he did, so then you get to harken back to other elements and they discover Ecto one. Like, isn't that enough? Like, connective material? Why do I need the exact same villain, the exact same "are you the keymaster" fucking bullshit? Like, why do I then need all the original Ghostbusters to come back just to fight the same villain? It's not your movie, dudes. It ain't your movie anymore, right? It's not like they come back they're like, we're gonna finish this shit off. I hate it. I really hate it.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't mind it. I think it's just it was easy to understand, rather than introducing a brand new villain that they have to invent all the backstory for.
You don't need a backstory. Just make some random ass.
It's like, why did Egon go to the middle of nowhere if it's for some random ghost? I feel like
then make up a fucking another random ghost and just be like, oh, so here's a random backstory. They lived for 1,000 years. Like, here they haunted the spirit of this fucking mountain or something. It's ghosts. It ain't hard. Just make it up.
Okay.
I can literally do this in 10 minutes. Give me pen, paper, I'll make up a backstory.
All right. You write a letter to Jason Reitman and let him know.
I feel like he went way, it just he toppled over.
Yeah. It's interesting to see the discussion around this film as well, like how much fan service, like a lot of people were turned off, like you, by the amount of fan service in the film. Whereas others ate it up. So there's I feel like this might be the point, the moment we point at these legacy sequels and say this is where we decided there was going to be a massive divide. It's like,
I just feel like after it all comes back to The Last Jedi, unfortunately. Because I'm not true. Even joking. I do feel like I 100% believe deep down that although maybe all these people say they don't care and whatever else, that the uproar caused by that film, that any legacy sequels and stuff made thereafter, they have been trying to hit as many fanboy servicing moments to not get the same backlash.
Interesting hypothesis. Yeah.
Mm.
I will say also, even though I saw it, in the trailer, they even specifically put the sequence out by itself. I still really enjoyed Paul Rudd in the Walmart and all these little Stay Puft Marshmallow dudes. taken all over the place. Even though it makes no sense.
I didn't watch that.
It makes no sense.
Clip? What makes no sense? That they would...
That one, there'd be Stay Puft Marshmallow people.
Oh, you know what they are, though, Ash?
Yeah, because Gozer was
originally... Because they were in the first film, so, like... Gozer shows up and there's a big fucking Stay Puft Marshmallow Man and he marches through New York. So in this film, because it's a harken back to the original one, there's a bunch of mini ones now. So you as an audience member go, I remember those things.
Yeah. But it was cool. I enjoyed the scene. I don't care. They all murder each other. They set each other on fire, blend them.
Yeah.
It's
a funny scene.
Could
use a bit more blood, personally, but
I don't know how you fit more blood in that. Yeah. Even when they blew up the Marshmallow Man in the first film, it was just all marshmallow.
Yeah, it's 2021, you know what I'm saying? 2022, this film comes out in the first, so.
That's true. Also, shout out to Olivia Wilde for like the weirdest cameo of the year, probably, as Gozer.
Yeah, true. Is that cameo or just like crazy casting?
I don't know.
I mean,
she's
it's like
uncredited,
role,
so
right?
I mean,
is she?
Apparently, it's not her voice though.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting.
Maybe she's like a mega fan.
Could be. Yeah. Anything else you want to discuss about Ghostbusters Afterlife?
Gozer voice is credited from Shoshri Agdajishlu, this actress.
Yes. Who people would probably... She's been in The Expanse recently. I feel like there was some big thing she was in recently. She was in Force of Grayson in Arcane.
Josh Gad was in this, apparently.
Yeah, he plays Muncher.
Didn't even know. No, I definitely feel like this is maybe I'm not exaggerating. I really don't like the ending, but it doesn't ruin my overall.
How do you feel about them actually bringing back a CGI Howard Ramis?
That's dumb too. I don't. Well, hold on. Let me boil this down. I don't like the way it happened. I feel like there would have been a way in which they'd done it, and I would have been like, look, you obviously got permission, like, the family's okay.
You would have liked it if the other original Ghostbusters there and it was like a family moment, is what you're saying, I assume.
I feel like, because the whole movie builds up to him, like, them seeing him as a ghost. So I have no problem with his ghost being it, because that's like a plot point throughout the entire movie, and he's an important character to our new characters, so him being in it makes sense. And I feel like in my rewrite of this film, in which the original Ghostbusters don't come back, in which the villain isn't a callback to the first film, and instead they just have a showdown with a completely different villain, beat them on their own because they're kick-ass little kids, and Paul Rudd helps somehow and whatever else. That's my version. Then you have him come out and they do
Slimer's dad.
Maybe. Then you have him come out and you have a family moment, and it's just a lot more emotional because it's just them finally, like, the mother getting her peace with her father, the kids finally getting a moment to see their grandfather who helped them throughout the entire film. Maybe, like, it's just, I feel like that would have been ultimately a much more emotional ending to the film, because if I was supposed to be tearing up at the sight of the original Ghostbusters, no, it wasn't doing it for me.
But the actual use of Howard Ramis, you were like, okay with the
No. I'm not okay with the concept. I'm not okay with the fact that there's a shot in this film in which his fucking ghost stands next to them, and then all three of those doofuses look over at him and like do like a little nod thing, and it's the fucking like worst. I swear, if you screenshot that and like post it around, it's like it's just like everything I hate about cinema.
Wow, that's pretty extreme. Yeah, I think it's interesting. Like, obviously, as long as they've got like permission for his likeness and that kind of thing, I'm perfectly fine with it. Like, but I've seen some other people obviously not happy about it. Just because I assume the rocky road that we could potentially go down in the future. But I think it helps that he has no dialogue as well.
Yeah, if they tried to add a voice, that would have been fucked up. Look, I'm okay to the concept if done right. I don't think it's done right here. Is how I'll boil it down.
Awesome. I guess with the other, we've got, obviously we talk mid-credits scene. is dumb with Sigourney Weaver showing up for 30 seconds to play some card stuff with Bill Murray. But the end credit sequence seems to imply they're planning another film. Which
end credit sequence
of did you not stick to the end?
I may have forgotten.
It's like Ernie Hudson revealing that he's invested his money wisely and is pretty much very rich, has been funding all these Ghostbuster locations in the years since. And then it ends with like the ghosts maintenance thing, like whatever thing they store them in. The light starts flashing. In the original Firehouse.
No, I did not say to the end of the credits.
Yeah. No.
I was like, fuck this shit. I'm gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah, here. So this is how they loop back in the other Ghostbusters movie? They're like, oh, that's connected now. I don't know.
Maybe. It explodes and the two multiverses come together because of
here's another multiverse. Yeah, I don't know. Like, honestly, the only thing I like about this movie is the new characters. You give me another movie where it's just them, and it's like more of what was the first 3/4 of this. Cool. If you're going down a road of fucking the Ghostbusters are all now Nick Fury's and they're building a big Ghostbuster army across the world or whatever, no, I don't care.
No, I agree with you. I think it could be interesting to revisit them again. Like, it seems like they took all the Ghostbuster stuff with them. So, but it'd be interesting. Obviously, podcast is super into the supernatural and that kind of stuff. So, him and Phoebe teaming up to like solve these ghost mysteries and that kind of thing could be interesting material for the future. So, yeah. Let us know what you thought of Ghostbusters Afterlife and what the potential of the Ghostbusters franchise could look to in the future by going to explosionnetwork.com/Twitter or jump into Discord at explosionnetwork.com/Discord. If you want to help us out here, what do you want to watch? Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser, or rate us on Spotify, or just tell people about the show. And if you like this episode, thought it was worth it all, head on over to our Ko-fi page at explosionnetwork.com/support. Thank you very much for listening, and until next time, keep watching stuff, I guess.
It has a gunner seat?
Ghostbusters 1. Ghostbusters Reboot. No. Yes. Ghostbusters Reboot. This. Ghostbusters 2. That's a hot take, as the kids say.
I think I'd have to agree. No, I'd put this above the sequel.
I would have if it
2016.
wasn't for the ending.
Yeah. And I like Ghostbusters too, so yeah. I probably saw that more than I saw the original.
I don't dislike it. I mean, I can watch any of these movies, and I'll probably get less annoyed about any of this the second time I watch it because whatever. But
yeah. Okay.